Hi guys, today I have Spellbinders brand new Stitch Club to share with you. I showed you this in the unboxing, but today we will try it out. So it is the nested stitched burst faceplate or cover plate, right? It's covers a whole A2 size card base. So they did send these items free of charge from my review, and of course all opinions are my own. And any links on the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. Separately, as an add-on, you can pick up what they are calling the Sentimental Greetings. It's an add-on stamp set, photopolymer stamp set with all kinds of sentiments: Merry Christmas, Make a Wish, sending big hugs for you. And in the unboxing, I showed how those all would fit like within this side. So this is not just one die. As you can see, you have your larger plate. You have this little guy that is like a burst, a starburst there, that you can then layer in with this guy, or use this piece and cut it out of here so you have a framed area. Pop this on top of this, now you have a lifted up area. This guy can also cut into here, so you have a very small, like not small, but like delicate frame. Then this guy can pop on there. This one makes its own circle, so you can mix and match those. Of course, if you want this sentiment, you're probably going to want that just to be there. So what I'm going to do today is just grab some paper and some embroidery threads, and we will get right to it. Okay guys, so I think for my base I'm going to cut this out. Now you can plan out your design however you like. I think I am going to make it look like a frame, so I'm definitely going to use this, some really sturdy white cardstock. I just normally use white cardstock. It looks great on black cardstock, gold, whatever it is you want, right? Obviously I'm going to use this part as an inlay to cut that center out, right? So if you don't use this, it's going to be a complete plate, right? This whole piece will be there, and that's fine. And you can layer up different things, but I'm going to use it as like a frame. It will make it more delicate, so you have to be a little more careful when you're doing your stitching, but that's what I want. So I'm going to place this in here very strategically right in the center, because you have little holes right here, right? And you don't want to get too close to that hole because then you might rip it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like these guys being around the edge, and you're going to be stitching in there. So just really center this piece, making sure you're giving yourself room all around. The whole piece is going to cut out, and generally I don't put this much tape, but I will today because I want that to be right where I put it. And then I'll trim down my paper also, of course, and run this through my machine. So I'll have my base, and then this guy, I'm probably just going to use this piece, stamp that, cut it out, matte layer it obviously behind because you're going to be able to see into there. So we'll do that in a little bit, but let's get this first piece done. So when I cut this, when you use a machine that has rollers, which is literally every machine, I offset it just a little bit because you don't want it to hit just that whole side and then just kind of bump over it. So I will run that through in one direction. I'm going to do this very slowly because I don't want to shake the camera too much. You obviously don't have to do that slowly. And then once it makes that bump, because I know it will, I'm going to go back through in the other direction, just because there are a lot of little details on this die. And before you really remove everything, just look on the back, and if you can see that it didn't cut through, and the way you can see that is, like, honestly, it'll just look like paper that's still kind of coating the die. Does that make sense? This looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it and get rid of all these little guys, and then we'll start stitching, guys, basically. It's that easy. So I'm just going to get rid of all these, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so Spellbinders does have very curated and lovely colors of, I believe it's like DMC embroidery thread. You can definitely pick those up. And honestly, you don't even have to take time to poke these guys out, because as you're stitching, it'll just poke out, right? But then if you're stitching and it's on your lap, you're going to have a bunch of little papers, little circles on your lap. But I did take the time to pretty much clean it out. I'm just going to look in my stash here and see what kinds of colors I want to use today. So as you're looking at your design, basically you're going to come out this hole and then go into these, right? All these guys. From here, it's just from here to here. Now we have these areas here. You might think, oh, I don't know. I don't know that I would connect any of these. I would have to do the math and see that there's enough to come from here to here, if you want to do some more stitching. But basically it's a fan here and like a fan here, right? So a couple colors, or a mix and match of colors, or whatever it is that you would like to do. Recently I've been doing a lot of purple and pinks, haven't I? So maybe we'll stick with that. Oh, how about, or a dark and light purple? We can do that. Okay, let's just do that. So what happens with these guys is I like to sew with 2 threads. Let me see if I have a little needle here. Sometimes I'll use my needles and then I don't put them back. Do you guys happen to do that? I'm sure. Well, I have one. Not quite. This is more of a stitching needle. Let me go grab a one that's a little bit bigger. It's just a little bit bigger in my hand. So like this one's a little bit larger than that. Okay. And so I pull these out, and you can use the whole thing. It's going to start getting tight after a while. So really I try to get as much string as I can comfortably work with, which is usually like about a yard. I know that's pushing it though. So most people probably don't want to work with a yard at a time. And you separate these. You can separate them in 2s or 3s. I generally separate them in 3. So I'm just going to go in here and separate this guy out. So I have 3 threads. There's 6 threads, you know, kind of tied, not tied together, but just manufactured all together there. And so I kind of go and pull it here so it doesn't keep tangling. Keep those kind of separate. Kind of run your finger down here. What happens is after a while, it'll start wanting to like make a knot. So just be careful as I'm pulling it with my left hand, kind of going through with my right hand and just keeping it taut so again it doesn't just make a huge knot at the end. We're almost there. And there we are. So now those are separate. Probably should have just kept it the other way. There we go. And we are going to put these guys through here. Of course, if you have a needle threader, that would help. Otherwise, we're just going to take a moment to try to get these guys in here. Oh, not too bad. That's why I got myself a bigger needle, because I just like the way that feels better. And you don't have to knot this. You can just leave yourself a long tail. It's not going to undo. And then on the other side, knot it or don't knot it, whatever it is. Now, oh, this is the lighter color purple, huh? Let's use a lighter color on the inside. So, from the back, I'm going to bring this guy up. Now, I always try to do it the same way, so it's like you get into your repetitive rhythm. You can definitely put a knot at the end. You can just leave a long string at the end. You can put a little piece of double-sided tape at the end, this end piece here. Put a little piece of tape over that. So maybe that's what we'll do. And actually, I'll use like one of these little guys. Just a little strip, and then just leave the backside on it too. So I'll just take that and help me stick that down. I'll remove that little bit at the end. Lots of ways to start it. You can put a knot, like I said, that works great too. So right now we can either go from like this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, this one, and keep going, or like up in the middle, up to the side, up to the side, up to the side, up to the, it's however you want to make. I had to take a little pause there. So okay, so again, just methodically do it the same way every time though. So I do like going up the center, and I don't even know if this is the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there really isn't a center because it's the same number, but I don't know. I just like going there. So I'll go up in there, and when you first start again, because I have a lot of thread, gotta take a little more care. You don't want things tangling up. And then after you start getting it, it's not the biggest deal. Okay, so there's that one. And then now I'll go back from the from underneath. And again, just trying to keep it nice and loose. And you can definitely use a shorter string. I just like to bring out a huge amount and not switch out so often. And then now I'll go to the right. And just holding it so I can see that the little right there is where I got a little hiccup. So you just loosen it. And you're not actually making a knot, so there's no reason there would be a knot, but you just have to loosen it up. Okay, and then so I went to the right, and now I come back again from the bottom. And I'm kind of holding it in the back too to keep the thread snug. When you're first starting out, you can still kind of go in through and just tighten it up again. Like as I pull tight, it kind of tightens everything. But once you start getting into it, it's harder because it's so much farther away now, you can't tighten it up. So I'm going to go to the left now. And I do the same thing. It's so funny. I rather deal with a long string and kind of mess with it than short strings and switch out often. It's just, whatever you like. Back at the bottom. You can see already it's not knotting up or anything like that. Giving it just a little zhuzh, just making sure things are nice and tight, and then to the right, because that's what I like to do. And so I'll just show you complete revolution of this one, and then the next one that I'll just do on my own. Back in the bottom, room to the left. Sorry, I got stuck on something over here. And then back to the bottom. Again, always making sure you have a nice tightness. What is that? There's like a piece of jute over here in my craft area that keeps holding on to this. And now to the right again. Let's see, are there 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's what it is. And then over here, and I'm going to finish off back over there. Okay, keep it tight. And as you can see, that little circle down at the bottom is getting fuller and fuller. So I try not to split the difference of the, try and leave the strands intact. I don't want to split my threads. And then I'll just finish up. Again, because it was 8, I should have done probably like 2, 2, 2, 2, like the other way. But I started it like if there was an odd number. Okay, and then the last one again, back through the bottom, and left again. And that's again because there's an even number of holes. Okay, and I just like the way that looks. It looks more like a little shell. I don't know how to explain it. Like if you look up close, it's like this one, this one, this one, this one. Instead of just starting here and going to the next, and it just like bunches up. So I just like that look. Now, I can move on to the next one by putting a little tape and then just starting over here, or taping it down, cutting it off, however it is you want to end it. You want to just end it by giving yourself a little knotting, burying it, under here, like under some of the stitches you already took. Lots of different ways, whatever you like. It's supposed to look very neat on the back of whatever it is that you choose to do. So, like right now, I probably will make a little knot. So I'm going back under my own thread that I just pulled out, and then back through the hole, so you make a little knot essentially. I'll put that down, give it a nice little tight, snug tightness there, and just cut that off. And I always just cut off the rest of the little fibers later, but look how nice and neat it looks on the front. And I'm going to do essentially the same thing with the darker color here. So I would start like in this corner, from the bottom up to the middle, back down, right, down, left, same thing you just saw me do, but just up this way, back down, up through, to the right, back down, up through, to the left, back down, up through, to the right, up to the left, to the left. Same thing. This is all of them. It's all just the same kind of stitching thing. So not much to expand upon there, but that's it. So I will be back when I'm done stitching. Okay guys, so I just finished up doing my stitching here, and just turn on the TV, watching a little movie, working on this. And again, it's the same I was doing here, just coming out from the center. And these all have odd numbers, so it was easy to find just the center one, then go right, left, right, left, right, left till I was done. So I like to go, let's see, oh, see, I was gonna do something naughty. Last piece, last couple stitches, back through the middle, out here, up to the middle again. Now this is getting really full, so what I try to do is make sure, again, I'm not splitting those threads there. And then down here. And, like I said before, many times they say the sign of a good stitch needlework, whatever it is that you, needlework artist, I suppose, is at the back as neat as the front. We're okay. I kind of just brought the thread up to start the next thing. I didn't, cut it off, but you would save this much thread if you just did not cut it off, or put some tape or whatever it is you want to do. And here I'll just finish this guy off, and again just making sure it's a little bit taut, so it sits nicely, and we'll have that finished off here. So I'm just making a little knot, just kind of going under there. Again, you can finish it off with tape, you don't have to do any of this kind of thing. And just go back into that little knot, make sure everything's still taut, and running a little bit through somewhere else just to finish that. Okay, And we're gonna glue this down anyhow because I'm gonna glue it down flat, but you can definitely put dimensionals back here. Just gonna get rid of some of these other tails. A lot of the tails just get hidden in the back anyway. You don't see them anyhow. I went ahead and cut a piece of purple paper down. So this is a complete matte layer, right? Yeah, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I cut this down to 4 1/8 by 5 1/4. Just to matte behind there, and I thought, well, you know, we can add some texture to that. So let me grab the embossing folder for this month. So I'm gonna go with the standard one. I would use a 3D one, but it has kind of like a frame already designed, so I'm just gonna use this. Obviously, you can also use different parts of your embossing folder. So the 3D, even though it has a kind of like a frame archway here, you can definitely run it down the bottom. I'm just putting some texture on here, so I'm not gonna be too picky about it. I do like to center it though, so that looks just about centered. And standard embossing folder, so I'm just going to run it through my machine in a standard way, meaning the base platform, this, and then just the cutting plate in the Platinum 6, and then, you know, whatever machine you have, just read what it says for standard embossing folders. Okay. And I just grabbed a card base from the card kit, so I have a standard A2 card base here. And I'll just glue this down kind of, you know, centered. I cut it down just a little bit smaller so I wouldn't have maybe edges sticking out, or maybe, you know, if you hand cut something, unless you use your precision dies, right, it's going to have some wonkiness perhaps, so I cut it a little bit smaller again, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, just so it can kind of nestle in there. And while I'm holding this down, I will also pop this guy down, and I'm gluing it down completely, so again you have all this texture with the threads, so I'm going to make sure that I have enough. And you might even want to use hot glue, you know, just to make sure. And I'm just going to put glue here and there to get these pieces, not so much where the holes are, but just where the fibers are. And I'm going to pop that on here. And I'm just going to hold that down. It makes a really nice frame as far as if you want to pop that up, you want to shaker this, that'd be very easy to do. I would just matte layer a whole piece of acetate and a A2 size behind there, and then just use that as your shaker, right? So I'm going to hold this down for a bit and I'll be right back. Oh, you know, actually in the meantime, I want to use this piece in the center. Now we can just stamp right on that and leave that be, you know, if we cut this out of like white paper again, or maybe a lilac light color paper, I think it's what I might do. We can also pair this up with a little piece like this, so then you have like a little frame, maybe in a gold color or something, you know, and then also cut this out and stamp on that. So there's lots of ways to play with this. So, let me see, I might tape this down on some kind of accent color paper that I can make a little frame with. Okay, I'll be right back here just to keep it flat. So in the meantime, I'm layering this up on a scrap of reflective purple paper, metallic purple paper. And I'm gonna run this through and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have these pieces again, definitely stitchable, maybe for another project. Just a cute little piece there. I just have this little frame is what I was going for. And you know what, I actually have this piece down here. Now this, of course, we can use for something else. Looks really nice. But since I have it here as a scrap piece, I mean, look at how those layer up so pretty. Okay, what I can do is just use this to stamp on, and we can stamp a sentiment. And how about sending big hugs? Oh, let's do Stitch with Love. Let's do Stitch with Love. I like that. And I think I'll just go ahead and stamp it. Of course, if you want to use a press or something like that, you can definitely do that. Why was that stuck together? That was odd. Okay. It is a photopolymer stamp set, so if you don't get a good, crisp, clean image, it might be because, you know, it still has some of that residue from when they created the stamps. So you might have to stamp off a couple times. Like if I don't care for the way that looks, I'll stamp it again on the other side of the paper. Not too bad, but I will stamp it on this side. And nice steady pressure. Looking good. All right. might have to switch out that ink pad. Okay, and then I'm just going to use this part of this die here. Now you definitely want to know how your placement's going to be, so let me look at this because there are like pokies, you know? So I suppose it could be however you want, but I generally like things to be, you know, the same up, like feel as far as the direction of that. So I'm going to check this out, and we want these guys to be facing up, kind of, and as straight as I can, you know, eyeball that. That looks pretty good. Looking left and right, up and down, so that orientation is good. And I'm just going to reuse some of this and run that through, okay? I'll be right back. Alright, there we go. And we have our little bit here. And look how pretty that is with that little, it's not embossing because it cuts all the way through the other side, but it looks really cute. So I'm just going to layer these guys up. I'm going to glue that down and put some dimensionals in the back of this, and I'll be right back. So I did put some dimensional on the back of there. So nice. And then again, before I really give it a squish down, I'll just make sure that that's pretty much centered. And we'll go from there. That looks nice. Okay. And there it is. So our first stitching die club design done up in purples. Looks really lovely. I love the embossing in the background. That's a lot of texture and it looks really lovely. And then the different, you know, the metallic paper just popping that sentiment. And it didn't take very long. Again, this is a very quick design. I think it's great for a first one for the kickoff. So thanks for watching, guys. Thank you so much, Spellbinders, for sending these items for review. I'll have images coming up. I'll have the links in the description box, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye now.